Joining us now on the program, our good friend from the coast, host of Coast Vue, Ricky Mathews. Ricky, I know you're watching this storm. Just got a couple of texts from you. It's headed our way, it seems.
Yeah, you hear me okay?
Yes, got you.
Good. Yeah, you know what? It's going to be a nail biter for people along coast of Mississippi. But the reality is this thing's going to go up, come through Louisiana, and then go back into Mississippi, and we're going to be dealing with this thing for more than 24 hours. It's going to be a really from a rain point of view for sure. It's going to create significant challenges for this state.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the animated model that you've sent. It kind of shows the eye sort of headed for the middle of Louisiana and then taking a bit of a right turn, as these guys usually do, and just coming right over, looks like Harrison County from my view. Is that kind of what you're seeing?
No,
then just moves through northward?
Essentially what's going to happen, it's going to come in a little bit obviously to the west of the river, to the west of New Orleans. And then it will start to ease, start to turn back toward Mississippi. And it will take, again, at Tuesday a.m., it's still just in the middle of Mississippi as a tropical depression. But, what's a little bit scary about this particular storm, and it's interesting, for 3 days out, the models had a pretty good sense that something very significant was going to happen. This loop current that is off our coast is incredibly warm right now. And and it's going to hit that loop current. They had been signaling that it could get major status. Of course, today they've ramped that up and said it will be a major hurricane by 8 a.m. Sunday morning. And it could get stronger. Some of the models have it getting to a Category 4. So as it gets stronger, the thing we have to be concerned about here in coastal Mississippi is that it would do something like Katrina did. And as big storms get the stronger they get, the more they want to move north. So making that turn is something we're all going to watch with bated breath, that's for sure.
I didn't know that. So as they increase in strength, they tend to want to go more north. I guess that's just because of the rotation and so forth.
Yes. Yeah, it's a poleward draw that strong storms see. There's a really famous meteorologist, coastal Mississippians who have been around for any length of time know him well. He passed away a few years ago, but he was a meteorologist for WWL, and his name is Nash Roberts, just famous for his ability to, he was big on Hurricane Camille. And he says that what happens when storms get to the mouth of the Mississippi River, they feel the friction of the mouth of the river. That's what happened with Hurricane Katrina, and it gets turned in. Look, there's no evidence now based on this current track that that's going to happen, but a lot of time still has to unfold. We have to get this thing on the other side of Cuba, and then we'll have a better lock on sort of what's going to unfold here. But that's why part of coastal Mississippi still in the cone. And the other thing the National Hurricane Center says, don't focus on the center line. That's the most important thing to note here, because we still expect, even if it goes the current route, we expect 7 to 11 feet of storm surge in coastal Mississippi. That's very significant, and rain up to 20 inches. So we're going to have significant impact. We'll be able to recover under the current situation. We just don't want to get a direct hit from a catastrophic storm. That's the thing that probably worries most of us the most at this point of view. You have to prepare for the worst. You have to hope for the best. You got to prepare for the worst. Prepare for a catastrophic storm. Do a search on the New Orleans Weather Service, what they have to say about this. This is nothing to wait and see. This is the time to prepare today.
Yeah, and you're right, because isn't it true that the eastern side of the rotation is typically where the strongest piece of the storm lives, right?
Yes, it is. I mean, that southeasterly flow will be just piling the water up along the coast of Mississippi, especially in areas like Hancock County, driving it into Biloxi Bay. I live on Biloxi Bay. And for Katrina, we had at my house 25 feet of water above sea level, 25 feet of water with 10-foot waves on top of that. Wow. I know what it looks like to have a significant event. This is not a Katrina. This is not going to be, think sort of Andrew or even Camille in terms of the size of the storm. Now, it could get larger as it continues to expand in the Gulf of Mexico. There's a lot of unknowns still, but there are no indications it's going to be the size of Hurricane Katrina, which drove in a massive amount of water. But still, with prospects of 7 to 11 feet of storm surge is nothing. That's pretty significant. And as this thing continues to march toward major status, they may up those. Actually, in fact, I would expect that they might up those surge values some. So that's a big event, even though we may not get the core of the winds here.
Yeah. All right. So anecdotally, are you seeing any panic? Are you seeing a run on the stores, the gas stations, et cetera? What's going on? People boarding up yet? Anything like that?
Yeah, of course, man. We have our house was built to withstand 150 mile an hour wind, but we just decided that under this scenario, we might do some plywood that we had not originally expected. I went to Home Depot, man. It's just crazy there. The stores, Walmart, the shelves are emptying. People aren't freaking out, but I think they're finally understanding that something significant could happen, and they should prepare for it. Of course, the harbors are empty, and the lines of boats coming back into Hurricane Hole back here in Back Bay and the rivers. There's a long line of boats. And it's raining. That's one of the. I mean, it's raining torrentially down on the coast right now. So that's
really?
A little scary. My son Jordan. It's got not related to the storm, I might add, but just a lot of rain. And my son Jordan sent me a note a few minutes ago. Just imagine as saturated as the ground is, if we were to get hurricane force winds, man, it would be significant tree damage. And that's the case all the way up through Mississippi. It's going to be quite an event for Mississippi.
Yeah, hopefully for those of us in central Mississippi, as it plows northward, it loses strength. But I think predictions I'm seeing are for 35 to 40 mile an hour winds, even here in central Mississippi on Tuesday. Which can be a problem.
And Gerard, and significant rain. And I've been in touch. I've obviously I have a place in the Delta, very close friends who are significant farmers in the Delta. And for about 2 or 3 days, they've been harvesting around the clock, trying to get their corn out of the field. It's a big story that's developing in the corn area. The farming area of Mississippi, as they try to beat this thing. And it's going to affect the farmers big time.
And that on top of what has been a fairly wet year and a very wet May and June. It did a remote up there with our friend Steve Azar in Greenville and going through the Delta. I mean, the fields were absolutely flooded, and that was June.
I know. They've been lucky. Good news is they did have that, and they've had just the right amount of rain. Things have gone well. The crops, for the most part, have done well. Now, I know that some of the farmers were hammered, and they had to take complete losses. That's for sure.
Yep.
But they've been those that survived that, and some of them replanted in some cases. But at the end of the day, they've had pretty good luck with the weather since then. For those who got wiped out, then that's not much of a help to them. But now they got to dodge this one, and let's hope it's not as big an impact from a rain point of view as it could be. I mean, it's going to be slow moving. It's coming in. It's coming in 8 o'clock Sunday. It'll be at a major on the coast of Louisiana, and then slightly in, maybe parallel with New Orleans at 8 o'clock Monday morning, and at 8 o'clock Tuesday morning, it's still only just at halfway up Mississippi. I mean, it's constantly just drawing that rain in the whole time. That if we only had to deal with that, we got blessed because we don't need a direct hit. Let me just tell you that we don't want, and we don't need a direct hit. Nobody does. This is going to be a significant storm.
Absolutely. I was curious after you mentioned it was raining hard there because it's not here. And I'm looking at the radar now. It looks like Gulfport, Lyman, Diamond Head, west of Biloxi area. You're right, just orange and red on top of them, raining torrents right now.
Yeah, and it's hard. Everybody, those who are really understanding, they got to get ready. People are out moving stuff out of their yard. In our case, a lot of boat moving going on. I had 3 boats that had to be moved, and it's hard to do that in the rain. I mean, it's also not safe to do that in the rain. So hopefully we'll get some better weather tomorrow. But people really need to be battening down the hatches today. That's for sure.
Final question, about a minute left here. Is there a possibility we may skirt this thing altogether? Is it still in in the realm.
No,
You don't think so?
unfortunately,
Huh?
that's not going to happen. No, Gerard, it's going to be a major storm. It's all the models are in agreement. The models are pretty locked on. It's going to hit southeast Louisiana, somewhere in that area, and we're going to get an impact. So people have to be prepared.
Let's all stay safe and pray for the best. That's all we can do at this point, and take precautions as necessary. Ricky, thanks so much for joining us. Good talking to you as always.
Thank you, my friend. See you later.
The JT Show will be